Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our masterclass this evening. There are a number of new faces that I don't know. So, first of all, I'd like to just say hello to those that are new. And also, if all of you can just type in the chat where you're from and just connect into each other's energy, that is always great. So, my name is Cindy Holmes. I'm the director of the School of Intuition and Healing. I'm really excited to be here with Dennis tonight. Both of us are really passionate about where people start their spiritual journeys. I have been facilitating energy management, spiritual development, for a good 16, 17 years, and really guiding people as to where to start their journeys. I do chats with people around their spiritual journeys and really getting some really strong foundations in place. And as I say, I am sharing with Dennis tonight. I'm going to ask him some questions. He's going to answer that. And then obviously I'm going to be chipping in and supporting that narrative. Dennis is a healer. He is a tutor at the School of Intuition, facilitating on our energy healing course. He is also a EFT specialist, and there are many different things that Dennis does, but he's definitely part of the community. Later on this year, if you're in Cape Town, he's going to be running live events for the community in Noordhoek. So he comes with a lot of wisdom and knowledge. And he's going to tell you a little bit about himself when he introduces them. But I just want to kind of talk a little bit about this roadmap to spiritual growth and education. And I think the question that I would ask all of you: why are you on the call? Why have you shown interest in here? And what is your story? And really, people arrive at a place of being curious around spiritual concepts, spiritual development, healing, psychic intuition, and we'll demystify some of these words. But really, where we will start is where to begin, unpacking a little bit about what we think is important. We're going to have a couple of meditations tonight. So really just enjoy that. We will do Q&A at the end. But if you have a burning question about what we're talking about, please put it in the chat, because we're very happy to answer your questions. Tonight's not just about us being the experts, which I don't believe spiritually there's such a thing. I think we gain knowledge and we share that knowledge, but we're very happy to facilitate any questions you might have. And if you're thinking about it, don't worry. Somebody else is thinking, don't think it's too stupid or too small. Please ask those questions. It's a great opportunity to do that today. So my spiritual journey and the beginning of my spiritual journey was really forced upon me. I didn't have an option. I was living in London at the time. I'm back living in London now, but a friend of mine who was 32 years old died of liver cancer. And I walked a 9-month journey with a very young person who was extremely ill. And when she passed away, it was very traumatic, because it was some time ago. It was a good 25 years ago, and at that time, the development of cancer treatment and the knowledge of young people with cancer, the treatment was quite aggressive in terms of lots of chemotherapy, lots of medication. And just watching this young person, a really good friend, kind of just wither away very quickly in front of my eyes. And And after her funeral, something spiritually happened to me, and my spirit came out of my body, and it was the weirdest thing, because it was like my spirit was following my body around. I couldn't ground myself. I couldn't come in my body. It had just been, this whole journey had just been extremely traumatic for me at a young age. And in saying that, there were no adults around us. It was like I was the oldest of a group of about 35 to something year old. So it was really a difficult time. And so I went to somebody at work who I knew might know someone who could help me. Prior to that, I'd actually been very scared of spiritual concepts. My mother had called it hocus pocus. I hadn't grown up in a religious background, but I'd definitely grown up in a background where spirituality was a no-no. It was the work of the devil. It was all these things. So it was something I was scared of, because I was extremely intuitive, and I knew that I knew information, but because I'd been frightened around it, I completely blocked it out of my energy. In fact, if I went to a festival or a fair, and for those of you who are in South Africa, if you at the Rand Easter show, they used to have fortune tellers. And if I saw a fortune teller at a festival or a show, I would literally walk to the opposite side of the road, and I didn't want to know anything about psychics, about healing. And so when I came off my body, my innate intelligence told me I needed to see a spiritual healer. Anyway, I was given the name of a spiritual healer. I went to the spiritual healer up in Cricklewood, and I went into a healing room, and she put me on the healing bed. And as she brought my energy back into my body, the whole room filled up. And it was as if I were lying in this room where there were actual physical angels. And I mean, it was a beautiful spiritual awakening, because from there, that is where, and I have lots of stories that follow on from that. But for me, that was the first kind of step of my, and I didn't know what, I mean, I had this healer, but I didn't really know, well, what was I going to do with this? And I then, as I say, I then started an inquiry. I landed up at the College of Psychic Studies. I met Sue, and a whole lot of different things happened. And part of this path, this roadmap, and this pathway, which we're talking tonight, is a little bit around the journey that I took to land up being the director of the School of Intuition and Healing. At the time I started my journey, if somebody said, well, 20 years later, you'll be running a podcast talking about spiritual education, I literally would have fallen down laughing, thrown down a couple of pints more beer, and laughed some more. So, but here I am today, hopefully with a good energy, hopefully with a clear aura, and definitely with a lot of knowledge and transformation around the spiritual journey. And the one thing that I really want to say about spiritual information education, it's about the transformation and healing of yourself. And that is just really, alongside everything that one learns spiritually, the common denominator in all education is about you. It's about how you are becoming the best version of yourself, how you are internalizing the information in order for you to feel better, for your spirit to feel more at ease on the earth and in your body. So that's me. Dennis, as usual, I'm talking too much. Would you like to just talk a little bit about your journey and kind of what qualifies you for being, here's the first question, what qualifies you for being on the call tonight, Dennis, and sharing with our community?
Don't forget you invited me, Cindy, so that's
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
You didn't
Okay.
gate crash.
Okay, so besides that, I'm going to actually springboard on where you ended off, because I agree with you 100%. My journey was different, but it was all to do with, or is all to do with, time and life is so precious. So meaning, purpose, making your existence matter. So that was the start of my searching. And it was literally, I was 17 years old. A very good friend gave me a book on kind of spiritual aspects like meditation. I started meditating, doing astral traveling, and looking into esoteric material. And then once that got a grip on me, then from there, it was just following my heart. So from there to Raja Yoga, then I joined a mystery school where I was part of for 19 years. And we did a lot of healing of people that came to services, or distant healing, in-person healing, and what have you. And I just followed a thread through different teachers. I did Reiki training in 2001, I think it was. I used to practice channeling with another spiritual teacher. And what I've come to realize is healing is kind of a practical aspect of your spirituality. So, you know, spirituality is about connecting to source and connecting to the divine, but then you utilize that in a practical way when you heal. So that for me is the absolute beauty of it. And then we met about 10 years ago. We met at St. Luke's Hospice. So I was busy doing some volunteering there. And you were running the 8 o'clock club, where you could do talks and what have you. And I asked you if I could do a mindfulness talk. And happily you agreed. And then from there, our journey carried on.
That's right. And Dennis took photographs of my wedding as well. So we had this kind of beneficial at the time. Dennis was and still is a very good photographer. So kind of it's interesting how paths meet, and kind of we haven't looked back, have we, Dennis? We kind of worked quite a long journey together. Dennis was quite integral in helping us during lockdown move our business from an in-person business to an online, making these kind of things possible. And he was part of that team. So, or the other thing, and I think that's also really important, is that we very rarely abandon our day jobs altogether in your spiritual journey. Somehow what you've been doing in life somehow hooks in and enhances your spiritual ability, if that makes any sense. So, my background is hospitality, but my background in hospitality was franchising, and kind of the way we're growing the school at the moment and creating partners and associates and things like that join it, is that it's not ever lost. Networking and people, the school is about people. So don't always look like I've got to be one way or the highway. It's really about the integration of bringing everything into the place of the heart, and bringing it into the heart and looking at things, for me, looking at things through there. However, there are practical and technical things and education that one can learn. So Dennis, really, what I'd love you to do is really start talking about the importance of establishing a stable foundation in spiritual education or spiritual work. Where do you feel is really the place where people should start?
Okay, good question. So I think it's really good to get a strong foundation in creating a foundation for your spirituality to springboard on. One mainstay through all the years has definitely been meditation. So I would say find out how to start a meditation practice. If you have one and you are struggling with it, then find out how best to continue with it. And when we talk about meditation, there's various different ways to meditate. So don't give up until you find what really resonates with you, whether it's meditating to music, listening to podcasts, whether it's tuning into mindfulness training, whether it's using crystals. So there's so many different ways, visualization. So I would say the mainstay is to start and carry on a meditation practice.
Thank you, Dennis. For me, my starting point is around energy management. Really doing energy management, and I actually feel that energy management should be taught at schools when children are of an age where they can concentrate. I also believe mindfulness, but first and foremost, how does somebody stay in their body? How do they ground? How do they feel safe on the earth? And I wonder what, for me, why is that important? Why is energy management important? Is that if we feel safe and we feel grounded and we're able to center ourselves and place ourselves in a place where we protect our energy, we are able to navigate the world so much better. And often you will hear somebody will do a 2-year course with us on healing, and we'll say to them, what was the biggest thing that changed for you? And they will say, learning to ground and be in my body was a life changer. And I really believe that being grounded and in your body and being aware of your energy management, your energy hygiene, that it can change your life. And if that is all you ever practice and you are present and in the moment, then that is life-changing. Dennis, how do you feel about maybe taking us through an opening meditation that would be part of energy management? You might want to add some information to what I've said on the energy management.
Sure, Cindy. Yeah, that'll be fine. So I get a sense that you're talking about the gap process. So the school teaches something called the gap process. And we find that when students are finish their 2-year course, the one thing that really changed their life in a large way was the gap process. So Cindy spoke about grounding. So that is the G in gap. So it's GAPP. So we have grounding. The A in gap is attunement. Okay, so when we speak about attunement, we are talking about attuning to source energy, or God, or Allah, or however you interpret the creative energy. The first P is protection. So protection is paramount to any spiritual work, and we'll talk about protection in a deeper way later on. So protection, and then the last P is permission. So you also learn about boundaries when you are doing spiritual work, and boundaries are a game changer. So the gap is grounding, attunement, protection, and permission. So I'm going to take you into a visualization now, and we are going to tap into the gap process. And I'm also going to, let's do a basic chakra color breathing visualization with the gap process to give you a feel for it. So if everyone, I think these days most people are aware of what their chakras are, but just briefly, I'm going to work on the 7 major chakras. So the base chakra is at the base of your spine, and think of the chakras as being in your etheric body, which sits within your physical body. So you have the base at the base of the spine, sacral, just underneath your belly button or your navel. Then you have the solar plexus, which is at the base of your sternum. Then we move up to the heart center, in the center of your heart. We have the throat center, your center of communication, your brow, or your third eye. And then we speak about the crown chakra, which is at the top of your head. So those are the chakras we're going to tap into. So if you want to settle yourself in your chair, you want to have your feet flat on the floor, which assists with your grounding. Place your hands in your lap wherever they are comfortable. I invite you to gently close your eyes and then just allow your shoulders to relax. We carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. And then as you close your eyes, take your attention to your breath, where it enters and exits your nostrils. So just get a sense of that life-giving breath moving in and out of your body. And as you focus on your breath, you'll feel your body settling, your mind settling. And then take your attention to the base of your spine and the soles of your feet. And just imagine dropping down 3 roots from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, down into the earth, and take those roots deep, deep down into the earth and make a strong connection. As you make that connection, imagine drawing grounding, earth, nurturing energy up through your roots and into the base of your spine. And just allow that energy to gently swirl there and connect you to grounding energy. Silently affirm to yourself, I am grounded. Then take your attention to your crown chakra, at the top of your head. And from your crown, send up a golden beam of light, up to the highest point of love and light that you can connect to. This is your connection to Source. And get a sense of really connecting to this creative energy. And now imagine drawing that source energy down through this golden channel, all the way down into your crown chakra and down into the center of your heart. As this beautiful love and light enters your heart center, silently affirm, I am attuned to the divine. From your heart center, imagine radiating out a beautiful bubble of light to surround your entire body. This is your bubble of protection, and you can silently affirm, I am protected. And now imagine breathing in ruby red light. And you breathe this ruby red light in and down into your base chakra. As the red light enters your base chakra, it gently opens and expands that center. And now breathe in a lovely orange light. And breathe that orange light all the way down into your sacral chakra, just below your navel. Allow that orange light to gently open and expand your sacral chakra. And then breathe in canary yellow and allow that canary yellow light to travel down into your solar plexus chakra at the base of your sternum. Allow this beautiful yellow light to gently open and expand your solar plexus. And now breathe in a spring green light. Allow the spring green energy to enter your heart center in the center of your chest. And just gently expand and open your heart. as you do so, see if you can tune into a sense of compassion. And then breathe in a sky blue light and allow the sky blue energy to move into your throat chakra and gently open and expand your communication center. Next, we breathe in a indigo color, kind of a purplish red color, and you breathe that into your third eye, situated in your brow. Allow this energy to gently open and expand your brow chakra. And lastly, breathe violet light into your crown chakra, also known as your 1,000-petaled lotus. And just breathe this violet light into your crown, opening and expanding it gently. And now that you are grounded and attuned and protected, we make our way slowly back to waking consciousness. So feel your physical feet flat on the floor. Feel your sit bones in your chair. You can rub your index fingers and your thumbs together. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes.
Thank you, Dennis. That was beautiful. Thank you very, very much. Dennis, have you got some practical tips around managing and balancing your energy in everyday life? I mean, we're talking about energy hygiene, and we've got this grounding, and we've attuned, and this protection. How does that, and we spoke earlier about it needing to be practical and being part of our lives. How do you feel energy management does that in our daily lives?
Yeah, good question. So I think this is fundamental to improving your life and sort of tapping into your spirituality. So we mentioned grounding. So let me just give you a few little practical tips around grounding and how to do it. And there are many, but I'll just give you a few basic ones. So one would be, say, getting out into nature and perhaps gardening. Okay, so gardening, walking barefoot on sand, walking in a forest. So I find that most students absolutely love nature, and you should take any opportunity that you can to get into nature. Then something practical, get into water. So you can have an Epsom salt bath, which actually releases negativity from your body, but also calms you down, relaxes you. It also releases your muscle tension. So I really love Epsom salt baths. If you don't have a bath, doesn't matter. Showering is amazing as well. And while you're in the shower, visualize the water as golden light traveling over you. It travels all the way down over your body, through your energy field. All the negativity goes down the plug hole and into the earth. And eventually you'll come out of there feeling really amazing. So that's one really good way. Let me just see what I've got here. Oh, another really good one is having pause moments throughout your day. So we get caught up in frenetic activity all the way through the day, got so much to do, so much we have to get done, and never enough time. But what happens is you deplete yourself. So then you get slower and slower, you start making mistakes, you start losing your keys, which slows you down, and all sorts of things start going wrong. So counterintuitively, if you can just create 5-minute pauses, like 2 or 3 throughout the day, then that really helps you. And let me not just talk about it, but tell you how to do it. So there's many different ways. One very simple way, and it gives you a sense of being held, is you take one hand, you place it on your heart center. You take your other hand and you place it on your hara, which is just below your navel. And you get that sense of being held, and then just slow down your breathing. And that's literally all you have to do, is just gently hold your heart, hold your navel center, and slow down your breathing. Do that for 5 minutes and you'll come away feeling much better. So pause moments are really amazing. And then let's not forget about gratitude. So gratitude, I like to say gratitude is an attitude of power, and we don't give it enough time. So if you're feeling really low, you can literally just start writing out different reasons why you can feel gratitude in your life. And you can start with your pet dog or your pet cat or your pet snake. That will start raising your vibrations. Start writing about the people that you care about, your family, your friends, the air that you breathe, anything just to raise your vibration. And before you know it, you'll be feeling so much better. So those are just a few, Cindy, that you can tap into.
And that raises your vibration, Dennis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And when one raises one's vibration, it's a form of protection, isn't it? Because if your energy is higher than lower energies coming in, then we're almost creating a boundary by raising our vibration, by expanding our energy with gratitude, by pausing and spending time just being still, especially in the, when you're in a storm, or, not a physical storm, but an energetic storm. One of the tips, in everyday life for me is I can be quite empathic in different environments, and I think a lot of people who are on this call are empaths, and they take on other people's energy and feelings. For me, one of the worst of that is going into a shopping mall or into a massive, like a hypermarket, hyper superstore, or whatever, those big stores with fluorescent lights and rows of that, and then, filled with people and energy. For whatever reason, that clashes with my energy system, and I can go into those environments and come out completely exhausted. So really, for me, being conscious around placing myself in a bubble of protection, or when I get onto the underground in London, placing myself in a bubble of protection, so that it's a conscious, energetic ball, and then raising my vibration. So I might then do the gratitude, or I might do centering in the heart, or just raising my own vibration. And I think that's really important, that we consciously think about our energy. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on, but that, all of this around us is energy, and it's porous, and it can take on, lower forms of energy. So for me, one of the biggest forms of protection, in fact, I met someone who deals with spirit release yesterday, someone who I met at the college many years ago, and we were saying that the best way to protect your energy is to raise your vibration. It looks like we've lost Dennis. I think his internet has dropped. There he's back. That's good. We lost you for a minute, Dennis. You're back. So that's like you're now muted. Anyway, so those are just some really practical tips in everyday life. Are you back with us, Dennis?
Sorry, we've got a storm here, and I think it kicked us out for a moment. My
Okay,
apologies.
no
Yeah.
problem at all. So, Dennis, we're talking about the ABCs of spiritual of education is managing this energy of ourselves. And you know what? I think while we're on that, and it's why don't we jump from where we are? And why don't we talk about developing this energy sensitivity? Because you've taken us through this beautiful meditation, which will link nicely into section 3. I'm going to jump the gun on section 2. We can come back on section 2. But do you want to talk about this energy sensitivity and about energy? Because you know, the alchemy of energy in healing and in intuition is so important. But do you want to just talk a little bit about energy for us?
Certainly. So I think the important thing to remember is that absolutely everything is energy. So think quantum physics, think quantum mechanics. Absolutely everything is energy. So I don't want to misquote the right figure, but it was something like 99.99% space, and the rest of us is moving quarks and photons and protons and all the different components of atoms. So absolutely everything is energy. And when we work with spiritual work, we talk about intention. So energy follows thought. Whatever you think about, that's where your attention goes, and your intention creates and makes things happen. So
Dennis, let's
yeah,
just, I mean, that's massive, isn't it? I mean,
true.
that little sentence that you've just created is if people can just shift their perspective on the fact that if you think something, you can change the energy. So the example of that would have been the gratitude, right? If you feel gratitude, if you think gratitude, you feel gratitude, you expand your energy. It's a positive energy, right? So
Absolutely.
if you think negative things or you think bad things, you contract your energy. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and I mean, we see that every day, how extraordinary that concept is and how you can work with everything through this energy field.
absolutely. So we like to talk about working from the heart. So when you work from the heart, you're working from a high vibrational love and light, and that is one of the highest energies that you can tap into. So you can literally ground yourself by placing your hands on your heart and then focusing on your heart center. It's that powerful. And then going back to energy and vibration, we say that your solar plexus chakra is the seat of your ego or your personality, and then the heart is the seat of your soul or your higher self. So if you work from a heart space, which we do in healing, then you're literally working with the highest part of who you are. And when you work from your heart, you automatically raise your vibration, which gives you a much higher protective parameter. So if you want to protect yourself, focus on your heart.
Dennis, the other thing that I think is quite extraordinary, that when you start understanding energy and there's so much information out there on the chakra system and around the subtle bodies. But really, if we think of this energy around us, that if energy follows thought, we can then shift our energy, but also you took us through the chakras earlier on, and the way that the chakras are receptors and transmitters. So the receptors of our chakras give and receive energy, and it's a moving feast. And literally, the energy exercises one can do where you channel energy from one hand to the other, and if you say a word that is is a contracting word. Literally, you'll feel the contraction of the energy. If you say an expansive word, you feel that. And so we have the chakra system, which Dennis took you through earlier around that meditation. And, you know, we have them opening at the front and the back, and then obviously the base. And this holds so much. I mean, it holds information around our energy, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, which are the subtle bodies. And so we've just got this really, I mean, our body is so complex, but then the further layer and the spiritual work that we do is the energy that is around our body, and how we can use healing to channel to blocks and dis-ease, which we can also, you know, maybe just talk, we can talk about that later, but just imagine that around this physical body are these 7 major chakras. And then there, I don't even know how little, I mean, if you start working with Mark, or any of you work with Mark, we then go to the he graphs and does things. But for me, it's around keeping simplicity of energy and really working with these basics that can shift and change, and that you can get to know yourself, and that have store so much information about your past and present traumas. There's so much that sits in this energy field. And my feeling is that, you know, getting to know the basics in spiritual development, knowing the basic functions of each chakra and what they do, can shift the way you think about energy and shift you spiritually. Would you agree, Dennis?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Cindy. Let me throw in a few examples. So we obviously learn about all the chakras through the schoolwork, but if we talk about the base, so this is like very, very basic, if you'll pardon the pun. So this is like the chakras are very intricate. You never stop learning about them. But if you think of the base, then you could have challenges around safety, security, and perhaps a sense of belonging in the world.
Yep.
You know, so maybe that's something that a client of healing or yourself would want to balance out, so that you feel safer and securer in your life. Or if we move up to the sacral, a lot of us carry, say, childhood trauma, and you can work on healing, shifting, and balancing childhood trauma through the energy of your sacral chakra. You know, and the throat is your communication center. So as a child, you might have been told to, you know, be seen and not heard, you know, and like really not allowed to voice your own opinion. And that will all create blockages or physical challenges within your throat. So then we work on that energy to balance it, clear it, and open it up. So that's just 3 quick examples.
So I think those are very good examples. So what we're really talking about here is, we've spoken about the energy management. We've spoken about the essentials. We've spoken about this energy sensitivity and how we use energy. So I get a sense that if any of you are don't have this information, need this basic, because we're going to go on to a little bit more around, you know, these are the basics. Energy management is a 101. If anyone is sitting on this call or watching this video and hasn't done energy management, I promise you it's a life changer. And I really believe that whether you do it with us or you do it with somebody else, it's something that everybody in life needs to know. So energy management is key to your spiritual journey. It's the basic. We then would go on to getting a basic knowledge, if you don't have that, of the chakra system, of the subtle bodies, a meditation practice, learning to understand boundaries. The other thing that we haven't spoken about, and we're not going to go into too much, but there are energetic and spiritual helpers. And I always say to people that even if they are figures of our imagination, they do a great, and actually they're not. But the concept that there are angelic beings that support and help you and you're never alone has got me through my darkest nights of the soul. I have always known that there are helpers to support me, to guide me, to work with me. And as I have got to know my helpers and guides better over the years, I know I can create a container, I can set an intention, I can ask for help from the spirit world, and that will shift for my highest good. And I have total belief in that. But getting to understand that there are beings that you can access, there are angels, and this has been spoken about since the beginning of time. So I'm not sharing something new, whether it be a religious concept or a spiritual concept. There are beings out there. And as I say, even if it's something that works in our species that is created by us, the intention, energy follows thought, the intention, and knowing that there's help energetically out there is also a game changer, especially if you have gone through a spiritual awakening and you have gone with ice into, and there are times when we go into isolation, to have the knowledge that actually there is spiritual support for you, I think is really important. So doing a dive into this, to getting to know your guides or connecting with angels, is something that I believe you should start doing at the beginning of your spiritual journey. Are you in agreement with me, Dennis?
Absolutely. And then you have Sonia Kashep. She's a famous American psychic and an author. And she actually says, if you want to do the one main thing to connect to your deeper spirituality, it's connect with your soul or your higher self and start listening to your own deeper self. So that's very, very important. You know, we get fabulous assistance from, say, Archangel Raphael, who works with healers and works with children. But if you can tap into your soul self, your own higher self, that's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, Cindy, don't forget about power animals. I mean, you know, this work is also fun as well. You know, so it's fun and it's creative, the spirituality and healing work. I mean, I hate to admit it, but my power animal is the bee. You know, like the little buzzing bee.
Yeah.
But you know, don't laugh about that little bee. It speaks of manifestation. It speaks of the sweetness in life. It speaks of community. You know, so I love my little bee. Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, the spirit animal is important, and so really kind of the other thing is, as I say, the meditation practice, looking at energetic boundaries, energy management, and the other thing I just want to bring into the foundations of this roadmap is animals can be really important. The physical animal, working with healing with the animal, being able to communicate. Some of us have an affinity. Some of us don't like people, and I love our animal communicating students because they normally they're always extremely special people, and they're quite introverted. And actually, when they start learning animal communication, it's really interesting how they gain confidence with people. Debbie and I were never so shocked when Debbie and we certified the animal comms course, and all of a sudden we saw the transformation of animal comms people really starting to connect with community and finding their voice through working with healing and communicating with animals. So kind of, I want to say spiritual development and education is really about you finding your power, finding your best version of yourself. And I will say that because certainly for me, that transformation is important. So I'd like to move on. Those are the basic rocks. Those are the ABCs, the basic notes in music or whatever. That's foundation to spiritual development, energy management. We move on to the next, and some of you, again, who are watching this right now, are watching the recording. We get to a place where I'm receiving information. I'm kind of I see a message on my phone, I know who it's from. I'm getting slight premonitions. I know something was going to happen, and I'm starting to get information. Empaths, I start feeling other people's illnesses in my body. Animal communicators, their animals are indicating things that are going around in the family. So sometimes I always knew if my dog got sick, that I was on the way to getting sick. My dog picked up my illness in its energy before me. So this energy of ourselves and this intuition, I want to speak about intuition, because intuition is something we all have. By the way, we are all intuitive, we are all psychic, we are all able to do this. And I want to demystify that, because people think my healing gifts. We are all healers and we are all intuitive. I am 100% sure that each and every one of you has a form of intuition. Intuition is part of how our system works. So, but now, what is it? For me, the third eye is a muscle. Our senses, our clairaudience, our hearing, our seeing, our smelling, our tasting, our feeling, our knowing, and our sensing are things of a muscle. So some of us have a really big developed muscle. So some people arrive at this crossroads and go, Cindy, I see spirits all the time. My mother-in-law who passed away is still visiting me. I go to an old building. I just see all these spirits. And so they've got an overactive muscle, and we need to work with them in order to ground it, turn it off, switch off their intuition. And then other people have tiny muscles, like when I started, and I had to do push-ups, and I had to learn, and I had to practice clairvoyance, and I had to do that. The bottom line is we all have, I've never met someone in my years of facilitating that doesn't have an intuition muscle that we can work with. A lot of it is hidden by ego. A lot of it is in the head. And, again, you can't run a marathon without training. And therefore, there is a need to train into one of these. And then also within intuition, there is a certain vibration, because it's energy coming through at a certain vibration where we connect with those that have passed. So I just want to just demystify that a medium, in our concept and in the way that we take what is a medium. A medium for me is someone who connects with those that have passed over and have lived on this earth plane. Other people might talk about a medium as somebody who channels information from guides or from higher beings or from soul groups. But for me, or how we classify, because we have to get to a point where we classify certain things and we take a stand. And yes, thank you. Everyone develops and learns in different ways, and it never ends. Well, I would agree with that. We continue to learn. And so this I always say to somebody, imagine that the psychic information is like a medium wave, and you have to connect. You are the telephone or the telephone wire between the spirit that's passed over and the person who's receiving, and you have to get those vibrations to line up and be the channel and the communicator, the medium between that. And that is what I believe mediumship is. Channeling is a form of getting intuition and communicating that. Dennis and I would channel information tonight. I channel while I'm teaching. I channel a lot while I'm coaching my private clients in business or in life coaching. So there is this channeling, but it's all intuition. It's all taking energy and forming it into a narrative in receiving it. And it comes between the thoughts. So it's about stilling the mind, and intuition is about receiving higher information. We need to be ready to receive it and be able to then interpret that in order to get messages. We can also use things like tarot cards to help us interpret the messages that have a spiritual connection, that have a beautiful ancient history. And in fact, July is the month of tarot, and we've got some fabulous free masterclasses with Soleh around how tarot is so relevant to our lives today. And then she does a mini workshop where you get to have some fun with a couple of decks. So that's coming later on in the month, and I'll give you more information about that later. But so there's mediumship, being the medium. There's being the psychic. There's being somebody who reads oracle cards. I use my intuition all the time. I have it turned on. I'm able to receive, tune in when I'm teaching, when I'm on a class like this, connecting to that higher vibration, allowing it to flow through me. And by getting the ego out the way and allowing that is something you can learn. It is something that you can learn, and it's to go down a roadmap. And so it's also, and I'm going to say that because Dennis is going to talk to you a little bit about healing. I believe that we use our intuition. Well, we can use it for not healing, but I believe using information to support others to heal is really important. Empowering messages, supporting people from a higher energy when they're having a difficult time, seeing what is blocked in their psyche. Blind spots come through a psychic. You know, when you go and see a psychic or you have a reading, those of you who've done it, and they tell you what you know, but they they speak it, they bring it into consciousness. And you go, well, I actually knew all of that. I've been thinking that. But it's bringing it into the present and the consciousness, and then you're able to work with it. So I could go on talking about psychic and intuition for ages, but if you are receiving information and you want to develop it, I want you to be clear that this is a muscle that you can learn and develop in different ways, as Mirka pointed out, in different ways. Some of us run marathons, other of us do long jump, whatever that is. So I just wanted to demystify that for you. And then, Dennis, do you want to just talk about healing as because one would specialize in healing and others would, others would then maybe go down a healing journey, or some might go down both.
Absolutely. I think what also is important, Cindy, is discernment. So that word discernment is a high vibrational spiritual term that you will learn on your journey. And it literally means you take whatever information that comes across your path, and then you decide if you want to integrate it and use it because it resonates with you, or if it's not for you. Yes. Because there's so many different modalities, so many different modes of thinking, so many paths back to source, that discernment is your key to follow your heart and to find what resonates with you. So Cindy was talking about mediumship and tarot and psychic development. And then you have a crossover into healing. So let me just simplify healing. So as a healer, you're not using your own energy, okay? You're using divine source energy. Let's call it love and light. And as a healer, I would attune to source. So just like we did in that opening meditation, then I would draw that energy into my heart. Okay, so I fill my heart with this source energy. Then I allow that source energy to travel from my heart down through my arms and into the minor chakras in my palms and the minor chakras in my fingertips. And then from there, I become a channel for this divine healing light to travel through me and ignite, let's say a client, ignite the client's own inner healing wisdom. So that's how you work as a healer. So it's not you, you can have an ego and say, wow, look what I did. But the bottom line is you don't do it. It's divine source energy that does the healing. And I also like to look at a client, and a client's got certain traumas or certain problems, but every single person is already a whole person from a soul perspective. So if I look at you, I might see you as having sore shoulders and maybe a sore back. But I can also look beyond that and know that you are a higher vibrational soul being or a spiritual being, because we are spiritual beings having human experiences. And then I know that I'm going to use that source healing energy to assist your soul or your higher self to bring about your healing. And that's healing in a nutshell, with a whole lot of other different ways of tapping into it.
Thank you, Dennis. So we've got this healing, intuition, different things under intuition. The one other thing I'd like to bring in again is the animals. Communicating to animals is a form of intuition. Healing animals is a form of healing, something that you can think about doing if you are connected to animals. The other thing that we would really suggest in your roadmap is finding a community or finding communities. And with that, I invite you to find communities that you resonate with, that feel safe, that feel authentic, and that are aligned to you. And the minute you start feeling unsafe or unheld, that you go and find something or whatever else, because I think there's a lot of information out there. I think there's a lot of beautiful information of beautiful people, but I also feel there are leaders that are spiritual leaders that could be in their egos, that are creating kind of organized, you have to do this, you need to belong to that, you can't do this without that. And just be mindful around those organizations that, you know, or leaders, that if it's not sitting right, if I'm saying something tonight and it's not sitting right with you, then find something that is, find a community where you feel safe. And I think that's really important, is that you are feeling safe in a community. And also that you have access to talk to somebody, and that you can be held in a process, because in your spiritual journey, you go through expansion and contraction, and find a community that is able to support you if you are going through a contraction, or if you do need further information. So I just think that that is important to do that. I'm going to go through a few things that we have available to you should you wish to start your journey. Dennis is actually doing energy management and spiritual development in starting this month. So I'm just going to put that there, and there's a really good combo rate for people who might want to join. And then also this beautiful, these free weekends, these free tarot workshops and masterclasses. Please join Soleh. She's fun. She's, you know, she brings a lot of current information to tarot, and she's been reading tarot since I think she was about 7. So she's this wealth of wisdom, but how do we use it practically, and how do we learn? So jump onto those master classes, sign up for those. I'm going to pop those in the chat as well. And then we also have we'll get this with the recording should you want any of this as well. But joining those free master classes with her. And then we also have an animal expansion workshop coming up, and we've got these various different things. In fact, I'm going to take you through the slides, because the person who made them will be very upset with me if I'm going to just share those. So that's Dennis's workshop. Animal communication, we have a workshop coming up. And then we have this, you see, look at the fun in tarot, the energy in there. And then there is a tarot course coming up. And then, as I said, community. Dennis is running some community events in Cape Town. In London, we have open days coming. There's lots of things happening at the school, which I'm really excited about. So thank you, Sonia. Somebody says always go within and don't go without. Thank you, Sonia. I think that's a really good way to do that. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in the chat now. I think everyone feels quite comfortable. I'm not seeing any. And before we go, Dennis, I would really ask you if you would mind just doing a closing meditation, one where somebody would do at the end of their practice, or at the end of their meditation, just to show good energy management, the place where we started tonight. And of course, Dennis, if there's anything else. But from me, thank you all for joining. Thank you for spending time with us. And one last thing, sorry, if you would like to have a chat with me, I'm available for a free 20-minute chat to discuss where you are in your spiritual journey. If you're not sure where you want to go, intuition, healing, start at the beginning, please reach out. I'll make sure Josh also puts that in the follow-up email tomorrow. Book a chat. Let's have a conversation to see where you're at, and get some guidance. Now it's over to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Cindy. So we normally just do, so we've opened up our chakras, we've been communicating, so our throat is wide open, we've been sharing and caring, our heart is wide open. So now we take it back to the gap process and we just gently close all of our chakras one by one. So if you want to just run through this quick process with me, go back into getting ready for your meditation. So sit comfortably in your chairs, feet flat on the floor, hands in your lap, and just gently close your eyes. As you close your eyes, take your attention to your grounding, those roots that travel down from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, and just silently reaffirm, I am grounded. Then take your attention to your heart center, that seat of your soul. And as you take your attention into your heart center, silently affirm, I am attuned. And then once again, think of that protective bubble of light surrounding your body. See it as a beautiful, shimmering white or golden bubble. And silently affirm, I am protected. And now take your attention to your crown chakra, the top of your head. And gently imagine drawing in the violet petals of that energetic crown. Just draw it into a size that is comfortable for you. Move down to your brow chakra, situated at your brow, and gently draw in the indigo energy of your brow chakra. Move down to your throat, gently draw in the sky blue energy of your throat chakra. Take your attention to your heart. Draw in the spring green energy of your heart center. Move down to your solar plexus. Gently draw in the canary yellow color of your solar plexus. And then for extra protection, imagine placing a shield in the front of your solar plexus and the back of your solar plexus in any shape or any color that you would like. This is an energetic shield that will reflect any negative energy that doesn't serve you in the next days to come. Then move down to your sacral chakra. Draw in the orange energy of your sacral. And finally move down to your base. Gently draw in the ruby red energy of your base chakra. And now that you are grounded, attuned, and protected, we return to waking consciousness. So feel your feet flat on the floor. You can move your toes. Slowly move your fingers. When you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Wow, thank you, Dennis. That was lovely. Good energy management, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. If you need any further conversations, further clarity where you're at, book a chat with me. If you know what you need, then jump onto one of our courses or find information elsewhere. Really, really important. But thank you so much for joining us, either live tonight or if you've watched the recording, thank you very much. Dennis, lovely always to be in front of the camera with you. So good night, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you at the school soon. Thank you.